Here I am at the Parawon Cemetery. It's pretty big. It looks bigger than the St. George Cemetery. I wanna demonstrate something. There's a Wilford. Obviously he was named after the prophet, probably. Now, check this out. There's my grandfather's birthday, October 7th, right there. And here's one of the, very few October 7th, 1914 dates in all of Utah. So this is very, very rare and very, very special. And the Lord ties these to me. Now look at this. The New Jerusalem, born in Jackson County, Missouri. The Lord is sending a hint. The New Jerusalem. He ties my grandfather into it. There's another October 7th to symbolize it further, to defy the odds, and that does defy the odds to get that and then that. There's 365 days in a year. So you get this. Here's another thing. One of the very small number of November 7th, 1980s, just happens to be in this same plot. And there's many plots. Look, you cross the road. It's in this plot up by my car. Watch, I'm gonna show you. Now, he continues to tie me in to all this. There's a Wilford. There's this. Jackson County, Missouri. He's saying the New Jerusalem. That's close to the territory where my grandma was born. And these are the grandparents that he's using the most on me. And I don't really question it. That could change later some. But let me just demonstrate something right here. Look. The very next one has my November 7th. It also has a November prophet going diagonal, November 13th, and it has Chiron's call date, December 7th, which I don't think is coincidence. Chiron has the name Aaron, and it also has the Kearns pattern. You keep going here. Let's just look at this real fast. I don't think there was anything on that I know of, but other than it's very rare. So, 2 down, there's those two. 2 down from the November 7th, look, you get Elder Nelson's pattern, which is harder to get than his birthday, much, much harder. And in fact, look, you get the same thing on the next one, different person, with my dad's birthday, which in the context of my grandfather, of me, my identity, in the context of the patriarchal order and my last name, and these prophetic signals right here, it makes huge sense to put my dad. Let's see if there's anything else that defies the odds and that is not a coincidence. So you have this. You just have a prophet's birthday and ordination. You have a Jackson, which is interesting in light of that. But look at this. You have the very day that a president of the church was ordained, Heber J. Grant, who on this very day became the 7th, and this November, there's the November and the 7th, he became the 7th president of the church on that day. What are the odds? And I always say a prophet's ordination is more important than a prophet's birthday. I always say that. These are the most important dates. Here, they receive all of the authority and the powers. They have the right to exercise all of the priesthood keys. I haven't studied this a great deal. Let's see here. Okay, I haven't, let me see what's on the back of that real fast. Okay, so look at this. In terms of my identity, I'll point something out. This October 7th, 1914 is far, far stronger than that. It's a bullseye, and it's my patriarchal line, my patriarchal order. And I think the Jackson County, Missouri thing makes it stronger. I think he's sending a sign. Now, look at this. The very next stone, it hits these three, a perfect line. Watch. Okay, some of this could be coincidence, but I'm going to take note. November 7th, Apostle birth year, Maxwell birth year, who was called from Holy Cross Hospital 8.5 months after. There's Elder Nelson's. Look, you keep going. Look at this. You have Hunter's birth year. You have President Monson's birthday, and you have a far stronger Benson, his month and year with all of the correct digits, and then you have an ordination death and month year. David O. McKay died 7 days later. This is very, very, very unusual. Then if you keep going from the grandpa one, look, you hit my dad's October 9th, and Alma, a prophet's name, and a Benson, a prophet's name. And look, my grandma's birthday, which makes sense with my dad's. However, that is the very day that Clark Gilbert was born in California, just like my dad. The very day. And in fact, you get an 11,7,980. You get almost all my digits. Derivative. Now, let's see here. It's just a perfect line. So let me go back. Oh, and by the way, one of the things I forgot to share is in that line from the grandfather, you have a Sharon, which has an Aaron and represents a lady giving birth to an Aaron, and obviously an important birth. Now, that was the perfect line through the grandpa. It hit that, which has the Sharon, and then it hits that. No. Let's see here. Let me look really fast right here. Okay, see my grandfather here? If you hit that one, it then hits that one. So it hits those three. It's a little off, but it works. You just have to slightly hit the corner, maybe 1/3 of this one. Look, it hits this, which has November 7th apostle's birth year, and that same apostle's death 1 day off. He died January 11th, 1984. Because it's not an 11, you get the ordination March 12th, going into the November 7th apostle. Now watch this. Here's the second closest November 7th to my grandfather. Look. Right here. Look. And in fact, that's the month and year he died. It comes right from him. Okay, with my grandma's birth year, that part could be coincidence. I wish it was closer. But let's look. And Aaron. So my grandfather, I would usually not read into that, except the way that this is working. My grandfather, me again. I'm tied into him again, his death. Now look at this, my dad, October 9th. Okay, and look, it's the same row as this. Very, very unusual. And there's the other October 9th with this. Clark, Alma, see, and look, you have a Vera pattern right next to that. And she gave birth on a June 15th. It seems to be identifying the correct family. I'm not gonna obsess over if one is coincidence or not. Now look at this. You have Joseph Smith's 100th anniversary date. I think with President Benton's death, May 29, 1924, or is it the 30th? This is just two. And it has a November 6th right there. Okay, this is too much for the video, but so let me go up here towards the November 7th. November 7th, 1980. For some reason, it's in the same plot. Is that okay? Look, here's an Aaron. Look at this. The next one it hits, my mom's September 1951 with her 12. Switch them. Okay, Aaron. That's a far, far stronger than a Vera. Could be coincidence, right? Now watch. Vera. November, prophet's birthday on two other prophets' birth years. Look, you keep going. It hits my dad, October 9th. May 15th, denoting the name Aaron. There's a lot of people here because of the flags, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna demonstrate something. My mom, look at this. I got my patriarchal blessing on July 2nd through Darrell F. Smith, who comes from Silas Smith, Joseph Smith's uncle, Joseph Sr.'s brother. I family searched this guy, and he also comes from Silas Smith. The bloodline that I got my blessing, this is not coincidence. It's on an ordination year of Lorenzo. He comes from Silas Smith, the same blood. This is foreordination. Excuse my anxiety and my breathing heavily. It's bad today. Okay. I can only point out the data. There's the October. My brother's birth month and year. Miriam denotes Aaron. Look, November 7th, apostle, being stamped with a prophet's birth. Wilford Woodruff's. Okay, let's go over here, the October 9th. So you had that line there. There's no way that's coincidence. And then you keep going, and another Vera on November 7th, apostle's birth year. I'm not going to obsess over it. Okay. I think there's more, but let's see. Okay. So here's my patriarchal blessing, July 2nd. Here's the same guy, because he was in the army. Look at this. Matheson is the same name as Madison, literally. It's just Over time, some people changed it. Madison. It means son of Matthew. Now, look at this. Look at what it goes into. November 7th, 1980. And look, the next one has 2 June prophets, Hinckley and Brigham. What are the chances? 2 June prophets, the only June prophets, right next to it. The only June prophets. Okay. And then, let's see here. Let's see here. January 24th. Then this has Uchtdorf's pattern. 1940, kitty corner from that. So that's pretty strong. So that has Uchtdorf's. This, you have my mom's, Lorenzo, my mom's. Also an ordination year, Lorenzo Matheson. Now watch. Look. 3 days from Oaks with the Madison. Look. 3 days from Oaks. It just surrounds, it's the kitty corner. Now watch. 3 down from the November 7th. Hinckley, 13 days from his birth. I mean, you'll usually walk a long time just to get that close. And for some reason, it's surrounding that. Let's go. I don't remember. I knew about that November 7th, 1980, like a year ago. I came here. I didn't know about the October 7th. Oh, an ordination. 3 days. 3 days from McKay, same row. Let's just look here. And the 1980. Okay, let's. Okay, look how old this part is over here. It's getting more old, but wow, that is weird. Look at this. What the heck? Same row as the November 7th. Look at this. Vera pattern. 17 days from Harold Beely's birth. 17. March 28th, 1899. Now, "19 days from Nelson." That's very, 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 very unusual to get the birth and death date that close to prophets with a Vera pattern. And look, the November 7th pattern. Look at that. Same row. All of a sudden, the November 7th is in the Vera pattern. Let's see here. Let's see. Lorenzo Snow's birth year with Benson. A lot of prophetic symbols on this that are not normal. Again, some things are just even an older part, but even still. Look, there's the Dennis. Huh. It's just all in the same row.